Hi, Mark Rogers here. It is Monday morning, and we are off to a rockin' start here, October 13th. And we've got some hot news with regards to Medicare changes coming up. Let's get right to it.
Welcome to the Talking Turning 65 live stream, where you look forward to being 65, or you wish you were still 65 and want to make the right decisions for your retirement years. Grab a pencil and notepad and join us to find out ideas to build security in your healthcare, wealth care, and estate care. And now is a good time to tell a friend we are live. And now, here is your host, Mark Rogers.
Hello, everybody. Good to see everybody this morning, Monday morning, and there are changes to talk about in Medicare, and I'm looking forward to sharing some ideas. I got my trusty co-host with me. Let's bring Leith up. Leith, can you hear me?
Good morning, everybody. I can hear you.
Leith, are all your friends watching right now?
I don't know. I told them they couldn't watch last week. I didn't like my picture last week. So.
Yeah, we've been working on this, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. Camera positioning. What do I wear? Is my hair fixed?
Exactly. Well, I'm excited to go over some content on Medicare Advantage that you've pulled together, and we're going to go through that because I think it's very key because a lot of Medicare beneficiaries are going to be getting information in the mail. The deadline's coming up here on the 15th, or the open enrollment that is coming up. And we just want to throw some general news out there right now. And so that's what we're going to do. But again, thanks so much for being here and helping out. Last week was kind of a crazy week for me, and I'm glad that we can keep this train going down the track.
Yep.
All right.
Lots of good information.
All right. We got Hailey and Kelly Allen up from Central Washington. How you guys doing?
We're good, right? We're ready. We're on fire, ready for this season.
Right.
Like
So
game time.
You guys have been helping a lot of folks in Washington State, right? For some time. And so what are you seeing? Are you seeing this to be a crazy Medicare season, kind of abnormal, or just kind of par for the course?
Oh, I think crazy is normal these days. I mean, when you say that, Leith, after the last few years, there's always disruption. We're still seeing a lot of the ramifications, lack of a better word, probably, of the Inflation Reduction Act that's taking its toll. So we're anticipating a fast and furious season this year.
Yeah.
Fast and furious, like always. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Very good.
Volume and velocity this year. That's what we're moving for. You know, you've got so many people that are having to make changes due to the prescription drug plan changes that are happening, as well as so many carriers that had the preferred provider organization plans that are leaving. So big disruption. That seems to be the name of the game for the Medicare market.
Very good. Yeah. So disruption is the name of the game. Mm-hmm. Good.
And knowing how to pivot in it, right?
Right. So, and what I've said too in prior things is to always work with an agent, right? I mean, at least working with an agent, because people are calling the 1-800 number and they're not going to help. They're not going to get the right help, I don't think. Is that true? You kind of feel that way too? They're not going to get everything there.
Well, this year it's really fascinating. You know, Hailey and I are members of a lot of Medicare groups on social media, and there's a lot of chatter amongst agents out there. And what do we do? Because particularly when it comes to the prescription drug plans, the majority of them are non-commissionable.
I see.
And so with that, there's a lot of time, you know, there's a commitment to your clients and reviewing and making sure they're in the accurate plan. Now, as agents, the message from the carriers seems to be that they don't value us.
Okay.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how agents handle this season. Many are actually choosing to just let them call the carrier direct, and that isn't our strategy. But to your question of, are agents valued? We believe so, because we definitely Like right now, we're reviewing our clients' drug plans, and they're oftentimes putting in misinformation on the plans or on the prescriptions they're taking, right? And so we get to have that higher level of discernment because we see so much all the time, where we're getting to really hone in with them and make sure that they're accurate and they're precise with their medications. That may not happen when they call a carrier. The carrier is just going to push through an enrollment. But what we're speculating, and again, this is complete speculation, is that one of the moves will be, particularly if the carrier also has a Medicare Advantage plan, wouldn't it just be convenient and easy to move them from a PDP to an MAPD when they call in?
Right.
And that seems to be what the chatter is in the intent in this. So working with an agent, that's what we do. We care for our clients hugely, but it is an interesting time, a crossroads, if you will, for the industry.
Right.
Hailey, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you covered it. You summed it up perfectly.
So let me just jump in, and we're going to talk about a Newsweek article here that came across, because I think it's important to see what the news is saying too. And I want to get back to the chatter that's out there, because that's a beautiful thing to get to. But folks, there Newsweek, we try to look at different different pieces of information that's coming across, and this got published from Newsweek here this last October 6th. Health insurance are reducing Medicare Advantage options next year. I'm just going to read this from Suzanne Blake over at Newsweek. Here it says, multiple health insurers are decreasing their Medicare options for next year. And so, whoopsie, upsie. Oh, I messed it up, didn't I? I messed everything up. This is when you go live and you start to make some changes. Let me see if I can get this out of the way here. And let's go back to secondary screen. Oh, man, that was one.
You know what I find fascinating? Do you mind if I
go
jump
ahead
in real quick? What I find fascinating is in that article, it talks about reduction of government subsidy, right?
Right.
But my speculation is totally different from that. You know, last year when we saw the huge disruption in Medicare Advantage plans leaving the area, there were many PPOs that entered the market. And I believe there was too much enrollment in those PPOs, because right away we got notified that we were restricted to sell them, or we were not going to be paid commission on them. So they were trying to keep people from enrolling in those PPOs last year. Well, what happened? They ended up with tremendous enrollment in them. And of course, there was a lot because of the shifting. And as you know, with Medicare Advantage plans, when you go into one, you don't have to have underwriting. So it's guaranteed issues. So they ended up taking an unhealthy population. And I think that there was just too much enrollment for them. And that truly is the reason. We knew last year that they were going to shut them down. And so now there's a good reason to put it on the government reimbursement rates, as opposed to plans that probably backfired on them. That's my one agent's perspective.
There you go. Real quick question for you guys. Is there 2 microphones open there or not? I just audio check. Is there, you only have one Zoom login going on, yes?
Correct.
Yes,
One
and
Zoom
we
on.
only have one microphone.
Okay. I suspect this is because we're getting feedback coming through, but I think that's because we're not wearing headsets. When we wear headsets, it eliminates that. But we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that as we go along. Let's go back over to the let's go back over here to the screen share. I just want to finish up this article and what you're saying is there's a lot of market disruption in the Medicare Advantage side of things. And I know, and I say this too, we're in good company here, because Medicare supplements, we're all about Medicare supplements, right? We're all about stability, security, and control, right? And that's where you get the Medicare supplements. Now you have to kind of build that into your monthly income plan, but at the end of the day, this type of disruption shouldn't be as big as we're seeing with the Medicare Advantage. But let me just jump back over to the article and finish this up. So nearly 70 million Americans rely on Medicare, And with fewer options available, seniors' health outcomes could suffer, and more retirees could also turn the traditional Medicare available through the federal government. So what's to know? CVS Health Aetna says be dropping its prescription drug plans in 100 counties in 2026. I think I heard somewhere that there's 1 million beneficiaries being less this year, and then we think we took that up last time.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yeah. And it's just talking about competitor Humana will limit its plan availability in 85% of the counties, down from 89% of the counties, and United Healthcare ending its plans in 109 counties. There's a lot of disruption going on across the United States. What people are saying, a spokesperson for CVS Health told Newsweek, each year we assess our ability to meet the healthcare needs of our members and adjust our plans to ensure they deliver an excellent, sustainable member experience. In 2026, Aetna will continue to offer a wide range of Medicare group, including group and Medicare. Anyway, so there's a lot of interesting stuff here. This is what Newsweek is saying. Medicare Advantage enrollees should stay alert to any changes in their coverage for the coming enrollment periods from October 15th to December 7th. And so that's why we kind of want to talk about these things, because that's a couple days away right now, and people need to stay alert and recognize these changes. If you're getting something in the mail, recognize it's there, and you need to turn to an agent. Leith, I just want to bounce to you real quick. Did you have anything? You've been working on this. We're going to dive deep into the Medicare Advantage. Anything before we jump over to the Medicare and U book?
No. I
Okay.
mean, I think you guys said it all.
All right. All right. And I'm going to jump over to the Medicare and U book. This is something every week we try to take up a new change here. And so if you got your Medicare and U book going on, you're going to want to look over here at page 81, and it's going to talk about the drug expenses. You want to talk about that, Leith, a little bit?
Again, we've talked about this in previous. You guys have been on previous, but they've capped it at $2,100 for the 2026 as far as your out-of-pocket costs, and like Haley was talking about, lots of times people can just call a company, but they also have Medicare.gov. I've used this site for some of my clients, and it worked well as far as finding plans for them. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So
right. And
but drug costs are a big thing. Drug costs are huge.
And you just said that. I want to go there real quickly here. And Medicare.gov, folks. Medicare.gov. I can't say enough, as we're all licensed agents on here. I think Haley and Kelly, you would agree. Medicare.gov is a solid website, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a go-to.
Yeah, it's awesome. One thing I will say though, right now, I am noticing a difference in the drugs when I entered them last week versus when I was doing comparisons yesterday. So I would just say, if you are doing comparisons and shopping on your own right now during this time period, just, take a look. Don't make any final decisions. Wait another week or so for the site to get all of its kinks, all of its bugs worked out, and then go back and do that double check, because you may see some of those higher cost medications like the tier 3s and higher. You might see them having a little bit of shift in what they cost. So just take a look at that.
That's great. Thank you, Haley. And I want to go back to even more basic. You see me highlight on the screen. Log in or create an account. If you're a retiree and you haven't done this yet, get over to Medicare.gov and log in or create your account so that you have that from every year at this time. You can go back to that. It's very important to have that to come back to. So very solid.
Oh my gosh, Mark, I love Medicare.gov so much for just that purpose. I have clients who come in and they're on a supplement and have confusion about their bills or whatnot. We can just log in together into their account, take a look at the Medicare summary notices, and you can go back to the very beginning of the time that you were on Medicare. It's kind of cool to go back and see all of the plan histories and all of the claims that someone may have had. So it's a very, very helpful site.
They can also print out their Medicare card which, oftentimes
Yep.
people lose it, or it, particularly when people enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan, they're often told to put their Medicare card aside because you're not working with Medicare. So in that situation, 5 years later, when they want to make a change, they forget where they put their card.
That's
We did print out a new one.
Easy peasy.
good. Yeah. So anyway, get over there and get out yourself on Medicare.gov. Let's get into our main theme of the program here. And let's go over here to, we are going to be talking about Medicare Advantage plans losing this. And folks, I can say back in 2010, 2011, when I was doing these in our local areas, they rolled in brand new at that time, and Medicare Advantage plans, and I was making a killing, helping a lot of people. And then 2 years later, they all rolled out of my area and left retirees high and dry. Don't know what's going to happen here. That's not here. But the point is, this type of disruption of Medicare Advantage plans coming and then going, or coming and changing that you don't know, and then doing whatever. Be very aware, is the word, aware of these changes. So we're just going to go through a few of these slides here about what to do if you lose your Medicare Advantage plan in 2026. We're just going to make a couple notes here as we go. As we've already noted, there's 1 million plus plans are ending. Over 1 million Medicare Advantage plans will disappear nationwide in 2026. And as we've talked about already the news has said this, major insurance companies are cutting their plans. UnitedHealthcare, Humana, Aetna are reducing offerings. And then we also have widespread impact. It's saying UnitedHealthcare is alone dropping plans for 600,000 members across 109 counties, as we've already mentioned. Why is it?
Mark, can I just ask for a clarification? When you said 1 million plans, did you mean 1 million, we don't have 1 million Medicare Advantage plans. We might have 1 million people in a variety of plans.
Right. Benefit.
So
I think
1 million
the word
people
would be
are losing
beneficiaries.
Okay, just wanted clarification on that.
That was a piece of news that we came across last week or whatever, where I can't remember if it was 26 million. It's going to 25 million. So it's a piece of news that says that the beneficiaries are losing 1 million beneficiaries on the Medicare Advantage side.
Yeah, it says plans. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah,
Good call.
Be beneficial. Yeah.
Why is this? Reduced government funding. So the reimbursement rates are projected to be 20% lower than 2023 levels. Rising healthcare costs. Boy, that's a topic in of itself, is rising healthcare costs. Regulatory costs and trimming unprofitable plans that are going on. I just talked to an agent in Eastern Oregon here this last week, and where she's sitting, there's going to be a lot of plans that the availability is going to go down to very limited. So let's talk about what happens if your plan is dropped. Let's talk about that box in the upper right, default to original Medicare. You have the ability, if your plan is dropped, to go back to original Medicare and be able to look at the supplement side of things. That is one option. Any thoughts on that, Kelly and Hailey?
Yes. So if the plan is leaving the area, then the good news is you don't have that medical underwriting to go into a supplement. The bad news, though, if you're just in a Medicare Advantage plan and you're wanting to switch to a supplement, it may not be that easy. Right. So just having, eyes wide open when it comes to knowing what your rights are in moving. You can always go to original Medicare, no problem, but that has gaps and laps that can leave you with huge medical bankruptcy potentially.
Yeah. But Kelly,
and the other part of that is when you do have a Medicare Advantage that leaves and allows that guaranteed issue, right? Yes. Now you've got the people who previously would not be able to get into a supplement, able to go on to a supplement, which also causes higher healthcare costs to that new company or to any of these Medicare supplement companies. So what we experienced last year was a plan G was roughly $240 to $250 on average, depending on the carrier. This year, we're looking at $350 on average. So that was a substantial increase, whereas previously we haven't seen as drastic of jumps across the board. So, you know, you do have that risk pool that is shifting to where they previously, which is good for the individual, but for the actuaries, it does make a little bit of a challenge there. And so advise your supplement clients, advise anybody on supplements to say, hey, you know what? It's a solid plan, but you are going to be paying a lot more than with the Medicare Advantage plan. And if we see this trend continuing, we may continue to see rising costs on those Medicare supplements, especially in Washington State.
Excellent. So I'm a guy that I like to get things on the whiteboard. So let's see so what we have here, well, that's a mess. If you have the ability to, if you're losing a Medicare plan, if you're losing a Medicare Advantage plan, you could go back to original Medicare. That's supposed to be saying original Medicare, right? Original Medicare. Or you could just say, yeah, I want to go back to original Medicare and add a supplement. Is that correct? That used to where someone can now get a supplement with their original Medicare. True?
True.
Yeah. Any other options beyond that?
Well, and I think people, you know, if we're talking to the general public and not agents, original Medicare is Part A and B.
Right.
Okay. So sometimes we throw a lot about acronyms around. And so I just want to make clear for those that are listening, original Medicare is Medicare Part A and B. You never gave it up.
Right.
It was combined with Med Advantage plans, but if you leave that Med Advantage plan, then it's Part A and B, and then you have a supplement plan. So
thanks for bringing that up. People get really confused, I think, on how
people get
original
really
Medicare
confused.
and Medicare Advantage work together. I like
Right.
to say that original Medicare is that entrance ticket. It's your admission ticket. You have to have it to get in and play. But then after you have it, that's where the MAPD can be chosen, or the supplement.
Very good. All right.
Okay.
So back to our, so let's keep going here. What happens? So these people should be getting an ANOC letter. Is that it? Review your annual notice of change letter, which must be sent by.
They're going out.
They're going out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At least they are down in this area.
All right.
Had
They've
people
gone
call
out
me.
here.
Yeah.
Okay. It's saying contact your insurer. Of course, I would say contact your agent, get yourself a personal agent, and go from there. And then number 3 is, use Medicare's plan compare tool. Although, while it's an excellent tool, may not know how to read it. So that's a whole nother matter. So there's what we're talking about. If you lose an Advantage plan, you look for plan. If you want to switch to another Medicare Advantage plan, if you want to keep riding that train, there is that option. See what's available. If you want to switch to original Medicare plus a Medigap in Part D, that is a possibility. That's what we were just discussing. Number 3, let's look at that third box. Enroll during special enrollment period. So if your plan ends, you have until December 31st, 2025 to enroll in a new plan outside the usual open enrollment window. So, I believed people, we can talk about it in another episode. There's going to be obviously opportunities too in January and February. Is that correct?
Yes. So my
Sorry,
understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong on this though, even
go
though
ahead.
they have until December 31st, what that means is that will give them coverage beginning January 1, because you have the last date. But you want to be very careful. If you exercise your enrollment prior to December 7th, then that's actually your AEP, your annual election period. That election that you chose, as opposed to choosing a special enrollment period. Kind of getting in the weeds here, but that does make a difference, because if your plan is leaving and you make a decision before December 7th in that annual election period, it's a one and done. You cannot make another change until our Medicare Advantage disenrollment period, which begins in January and goes to March 31st. If, however, you miss that December 7th window and your PPO or your Medicare Advantage plan is leaving, you do have until December 31st for a January 1 start date. But this is where I believe you have 63 days from the loss of coverage. So if you choose not to make that decision, or life happens, you know, people eat too much at Thanksgiving and have a heart attack, right? And not to make light of it, but things happen where you miss the opportunity to enroll because of a life circumstance. So should that happen, then December 31st, if no action was taken and your plan was leaving, you will revert to that original Medicare, which is Part A and Part B, but you will still have a window to choose a new Medicare Advantage plan that will just take place the first of the month following your enrollment. Again, Mark, a lot of information here. So this is where working with that trusted advisor is going to come out. You'll never get that information by calling a 1-800 Medicare or a 1-800 carrier number, right?
No.
Right.
So a lot of moving pieces there.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
All right, and there's your dates. We were just tiptoeing through the dates. October 15th. That's just right on the corner. That's when that's where this annual enrollment opens up, and you start comparing stuff, doing what you need to do by December 7th, and if your plan is discontinued, there is a date of December 31st. Again, I know this can be confusing, but that's why you work with a personal agent. So. Licensed agents are on the right. You got Medicare.gov tools, and we've got SHIP counseling. I always recommend having a personal relationship with an agent along the way. It's very, very helpful.
Mark, if I can jump in real quick.
Yeah.
I find another reason to have a personal agent is throughout the year, if you have problems, you have someone you can call.
That's right.
And I know Mark and I've sent him some clients, and they call me in mid-plan year and, you know, what do I do? And Mark and I get together and we figure it out, you know, who can do what for them. And it makes a huge difference.
And I want to
because a 1-800 number, they're not going to,
right.
You know,
and
a 1-800 number is to, you know, the insurance carriers, they're there to sign you up.
That's right. So honing in on that relationship, because as Kelly and Hailey were just saying, there's a multitude of things, right? There's a multitude of things that could be going on, and having someone that is independent, having someone that's knowledgeable, or there's a teamwork, right? There may be teamwork. I know, Hailey, you talked about this where, you know, you may talk to another agent south of you about 100 miles or so or something, right? And you're having that conversation because it's so complex at times and so unique that you're always leaning in on other support. I think that's very important to understand, to have that relationship, to be able to lean on that support.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so right. And one of the things I love about our industry is, yeah, technically we're competitors, but at the end of the day, there's so much business to go around that we're able to help and really support each other. And there were times when I was learning that Kelly wasn't available. Maybe she was in another meeting, or she was out, or who knows, what have you.
Yeah.
But I was able to call others within the industry and get the answers I needed from people more senior to me. And one of the things that I love, and Mark, one of the things that brought us together is NAIFA, or the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. And NAIFA is really about making every single advisor succeed. And I love that. And I love the advocacy component, because we are our clients' advocates. So if you're not working with an advisor, find an advisor who's already a member of NAIFA, because we have that high, strong ethical values.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug to the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. Beautiful. And we need to plug it more, because we're fighting this on all fronts. We're getting legislative, education, networking, the whole bit. So, okay. So let's just look at this one. Let's wrap this up here, where we have take action. Don't wait until January 1st, 2026. Read your ANOC letter carefully. Choose wisely. Everything is sitting there, but as we said before, why working with an agent is important. So calendars fill up, do they not, right? Calendars filling up, and so I think we're going to drop in the link below. We'll get it in the link below. Kelly and Hailey's calendar. Leith's calendar will be down there as well. If anybody has questions, please click the link, jump in on a time, because I think Hailey and Kelly, you would also say too that having people join a personal link calendar is the best thing, is it not? With everything so busy,
Right.
you know, I know it's kind of hard for for maybe retirees to go, what does this mean? All it means is you got a link there, click on it, find a time to talk on the phone first, or maybe you have it set up where you come in the office. It's going to give you that option to go either way, and set up a time, and it eliminates back and forth because the agents are so busy, and you need to have that link there to be able to talk. It's a beautiful thing to set the time. I know on my calendar, if someone's on my calendar, they're on my calendar. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Right. And, you know, a lot of it is, it doesn't take a lot of time or effort to provide somebody reassurances that, you know, we've got options for them. You know, we're seeing a lot of people that are kind of in the sky is falling mode because they've gotten the notice. Well, on the MAPD, the Medicare Advantage prescription drug plans that are leaving the area, people are concerned that they don't have an option. But we're also seeing on just the prescription drug plan front, we've seen some significant increases in the premium there. And, you know, retirees typically have a fixed income that
Right.
they're living on. So these decisions are significant to them, to their finances. And so it's wonderful just to have that quick conversation. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
But the beauty is what happens on our end when they get on our calendar, they automatically get sent a survey. So we capture their information and can keep things moving along for them.
Excellent. Well, this is wrapping up our healthcare conversation here. And I always put this up on the screen because it's very important as everybody's taking this time to look at their Medicare stuff. That's over on the left in the yellow. That's Medicare Plan. That's called Skilled Care. Skilled Care is your Medicare Part A and B. It's the basics of Part D, your drug plans. We haven't gotten into Medigap today much. We've talked about MAPDs leaving. That's skilled care. We didn't talk about dental care nor vision, but those are the skilled care, which is expenses that are sitting there that people don't want to get exposed to. However, we want to give a shout out for custodial care. Custodial care is care that you need at home or in a facility. I will also say, too, this is a further conversation, that the IRS will be beneficiaries when people have to pull out of their 401k IRA. IRS is going to be receiving some money from you out of your account if you're paying that, if you're taking out large chunks to pay for care at home or facilities. So I give a shout out to custodial care. It's a twin. Hopefully we can talk more about that in the January timeframe, although November is Long-Term Care Awareness Month. I will say that. So, but I want to make sure, and what do you say about Hailey and Kelly? I mean, isn't that part of the conversation, having both of those together?
Absolutely. You know, and it's also, we help people in the under 65 market, you know, the individual. And one of the things to really think about is they get sandwiched between taking care of their kids and their parents. But you know, there is that sweet spot in when personally they want to start looking at their long-term care coverage.
Yep.
And, you know, you don't do it too early, you don't do it too late. It's kind of like, what is that? The Goldilocks and the Three Bears. There's just that right time to take care of it. And honestly, I wish that there were a way to make a little bit more urgency in some of those decision-making decisions. But that's the conversation. And that is also where being that trusted advisor is so helpful.
Yeah.
All we can do is plant seeds though, right?
That's all we can do. Plant seeds. So
And then we water them.
Exactly. Yep. So talking about skilled care, talking about custodial care, it's the overall retirement planning. It's very, very helpful to have that. So, all right, coming up as well, we're going to be having, Leith and I are going to jump into our own private Zoom office hours. And so, you going into Zoom, turning TT 65 office hours is what it is. TT 65 office hours. We'll put that in the link down below as well. All right. I just want to thank everybody for coming today. We had some technical hiccups. We get through it. We power through it, right? And
Yes.
your calendars are full, people to help, lots of changes in the marketplace, and we just need to keep our heads straight for the next 2.5 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate this forum, right? Because one of the things I've learned is that education, knowledge is the secret to whatever you're doing. And so being able to use this platform, Mark, to continue to get the message out is incredibly important. Why is Medicare so complicated? I have no idea, but having the opportunity to hear it from so many different directions is really a wonderful thing for the senior market, right?
Yeah.
And as senior advisors, you're doing a wonderful job by having this platform. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. People can refer over to Talking Turning 65 on the channels, and we try to keep the channels open to share the information as we go. All right, Leith, what do we say?
Yep.
We're about trying to wrap up.
About time to wrap up.
We got a Zoom. We got a hours. We've
got an hour for Zoom chat. If
Well,
people
in
wanna
5
come
minutes, 5 minutes, we'll be turning this on. We came in a little late today, so we'll be jumping over into TT65officehours.com. Sorry, I can't put that in the thing. TT65officehours.com. We'll get you over to the Zoom. And with that, we'll see everybody next week.
Ciao.
Well, friends, we've reached the end of our 30-minute journey on Talking Turning 65. I hope today's conversation shed light on the challenges and opportunities you face as a rural retiree in the West. See how our Social Security income can be maximized. We know the struggles to create lifetime income. Seek to plan for tax-free income. Build Medicare planning that is affordable. And learn about long-term care planning that doesn't drain the savings accounts when a crisis happens. Have our wills and trusts current, so our family has our desires and not have the state make decisions. If you found value in today's show, please hit like, subscribe to our channel, and share this program with a neighbor or friend. Together, we'll keep the conversation honest and helpful for years to come. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Talking Turning 65.